Om Shanti. This is the Avyakt Murli of 27th of November 1987. And the title is Only Those Who Have Unlimited Disinterest Are True Raj Rishis. Today, Bap Dada is seeing the court of all the Raj Rishis. Throughout the whole cycle, a court of kings takes place many times, but this court of Raj Rishis only takes place at this confluence age. You are kings and also Rishis. This specialty of this court of this time is remembered. On the one hand, you have the kingdom. That is, you have a right to all attainments, and on the other hand, you are Rishis. That is, you are those who have an attitude of unlimited disinterest. On the one hand, you have the intoxication of having a right to all attainments, and on the other hand, you have the alokik intoxication of having unlimited disinterest. To the extent that you have elevated fortune, you have elevated renunciation. There is a balance of the two. This is known as being a Raj Rishi. Baba was seeing the balance of such Raj Rishi children. One moment, you have the intoxication of being one with that right, and the next moment, you have the intoxication of having an attitude of disinterest. To what extent are you able to remain stable in this practice? That is, to what extent do you practice both stages equally? Baba was checking this. All the children are number-wise in their practice anyway. However, according to the time, you must continue to increase even more the practice of both these stages to the greatest possible extent. An attitude of unlimited disinterest means disinterest doesn't mean to step away, but while having all attainments, no limited attractions should attract your mind or intellect. Unlimited means to be a complete and perfect soul in an unlimited way, equal to the Father, to be a sovereign of all senses, and also to have a right over the subtle powers of the mind, intellect, and sanskars. Let there not be dependency even in your thoughts. This is called being a Raj Rishi, that is, one with an attitude of unlimited disinterest, one who easily and constantly stays far away from all attractions, that is, from the old body, the old world of the body, from any grossness, and from any physical possessions. Just as the power of science is able to take you beyond the pull of the earth's gravity, in the same way, the power of silence takes you far beyond these limited attractions. This is known as the complete and perfect stage equal to that of the Father. So, have you practiced such a stage? The physical organs are very gross, and it is still easy to become a conqueror of the physical organs. However, it requires subtle practice to become victorious over the subtle powers of the mind, intellect, and sanskars. To be able to make any thought or sanskar emerge at the time you want is known as being victorious over the subtle powers. That is, it is the stage of a Raj Rishi. Just as you order your physical organs to do this and not to do that, put your hand down, raise your hand, and so it goes up in the same way. Your thoughts, sanskars, and the power of deciding, which means the intellect, should work according to your orders. When the soul, that is, the king, orders the mind, that is, the power of thought, to instantly become stable and concentrated, to become stable in just the one thought, then for the order of the king to be obeyed is that way at that moment is the sign of being one who has a right to the kingdom. It should not be that your mind obeys this order after practicing it for 3 or 4 minutes, or instead of becoming stable and concentrated, it first of all goes into upheaval and then becomes stable. What would you call that? Would you say that this is someone who has a right? So check in this way, because you have already been told in advance that at the time of the final result, at the final time, there will be just one question of just 1 second. If you don't have the practice of having a right over these subtle powers now, that is, if your mind obeys the orders of you, the king, after 3 moments, instead of just 1 moment, would you be called one who has a right to the kingdom? Or would you pass the final paper of just 1 second? How many marks would you receive? In the same way, you should have a right over your intellect, that is, over your deciding power, that is, to be able to make a decision at the time of the situation, according to the situation at that moment, is known as having a right over the intellect. It should not be that when that situation or that moment has passed, you then decide that that should not have happened, that it would have been much better if you had decided that earlier. So, to be able to make the right decision at that time is a sign of a soul who has a right to the kingdom. So, throughout the day, check to what extent you remained one with the right to the kingdom. That is, to what extent you were making your subtle powers work under your orders. Every day, hold a court of your workers. Check whether the workers, the physical organs, and the subtle powers remained under your control or not. The sanskars of being a sovereign at this time will enable you to be a right to the kingdom for many birds. Do you understand? In the same way, do your sanskars sometimes deceive you? Your original and eternal sanskars, your eternal sanskars are pure and elevated sanskars. The original sanskars are to be an embodiment of all virtues, to be a deity soul who has a right to the kingdom, to be an embodiment of all attainments. These are the natural sanskars you need to become complete and perfect. So, to be a sovereign over the power of your sanskars means that your original and eternal sanskars are always immersed. They should be your natural sanskars, the sanskars of the middle period, that is, the sanskars that entered from the Copper Age onwards should not attract you towards themselves. You should not be compelled by sanskars. You speak of your old sanskars. In fact, your old sanskars are your original and eternal sanskars. The others are of the middle period, the sanskars that came in the Copper Age. So, are your old sanskars of the beginning or of the middle period? If any sanskars of limited attraction attracts you, would you be said to have a right over your sanskars? If, within your kingdom, even one power or one worker, one of the physical organs, is not working under your orders, would you be said to have full rights over your kingdom? All of you children issue the challenge that you are the ones who will establish the one kingdom, one language, one religion, and one direction. All of you Brahmakumars and Kumaris issue this challenge. Do you not? So, when will that be established? Will it be established in the future? Who are the instruments for establishment? It is Brahma or Vishnu. Establishment takes place through Brahma, does it not? Where there is Brahma, the Brahmins are with him too. When will establishment through Brahma, that is, through the Brahmins, take place? At the confluence age or in the golden age? There will be the sustenance. Establishment through Brahma and the Brahmins has to take place now. So first of all, look in your own kingdom to see whether there is the one kingdom, one dharana, and one direction. If even one of the physical organs is under a different direction of Maya, it would not be said to be one kingdom and one direction. So, first of all, check whether you have established the one kingdom in terms of your own kingdom and your own dharma, or whether Maya sometimes sits on the throne and you sit on it sometimes. Check whether you have to put the challenge into a practical form. You desire to have the eternal sanskars, but instead of that, the sanskars of the middle period emerge. In that case, it is not having a right, is it? So, a Raj Rishi means one who has a right over the kingdom of the self. You will constantly and easily have a right to the kingdom when you are a Rishi. That is, when you have the practice of an attitude of unlimited disinterest. Disinterest means that there is no attachment and that you always love the Father. This loving nature enables you to become detached. To love the Father and to be detached before you start to act is called being an unlimited renunciate. If you do not love the Father, you cannot even become detached, and there will be attachment. Those who love the Father cannot love anyone else or any material things. They would always be beyond that attraction. That is, they would always remain detached. This is called the stage of being immune, where you are not affected by the trace of any limited attraction. you put into the use the creation and facilities while remaining immune. Have you become those who have such unlimited disinterest? True Raj Rishis, don't think that just one or two weaknesses now remain, that just one subtle power or physical organ is not sufficiently under control, but that all the rest are fine. For where there is even one weakness, that is the gate for Maya to enter. Whether it is a small gate or a big gate, it is a gate. If the gate remains open, how would you become a conqueror of Maya and a conqueror of the world? On the one side, you are invoking the beautiful golden world of one kingdom and one religion, but as well as that, you are also invoking weaknesses, that is, Maya. Therefore, what would the result be? You will remain in confusion. Therefore, do not consider this to be a small thing, thinking, there is still some time remaining. We will be able to do it later. There are still so many weaknesses in others, but there is just this one thing in me. While looking at others, make sure you yourself don't get left behind. It is said, see Father Brahma. It is said, follow the Father. Definitely be loving and cooperative with everyone. Definitely become one who picks up virtues, but follow the Father. You saw the last stage of Father Brahma, the stage of Raj Rishi, being so loving to the children. Seeing them in front of him, you saw that detachment. You saw the stage of unlimited disinterest in a practical way. While going through the suffering of karma, he had a right over his physical organs. That is, he became a Raj Rishi and gave the experience of the perfect stage. This is why you are told to follow the Father. So, always check your sovereignty and check your workers in the kingdom to see that no worker in the kingdom deceives you. Do you understand? Acha. Today, you have all come from many places and arrived at the one place. This is called the Mela, meeting of the ocean with the rivers. In a Mela, you meet one another and you also receive lots of treasures. This is why you have all reached this Mela. This is the last group of new children of the season. The older ones have also received a chance with the new ones. Nature too is still giving cooperation with love. However, do not take advantage of it. Otherwise, nature is also clever. Acha. To the children from everywhere who are always Raj Rishis, to the children who rule the self, to the children who have a right to the kingdom and who are constantly victorious, run the kingdom obstacle-free, to all the Rishi Kumars and Kumaris who always have an attitude of unlimited disinterest, to those who are always loving to the Father and who remain detached while performing actions, to such loving and detached children, to the faithful children who always follow Father Brahma, Bap Dada's love, remembrance, and Namaste. Avyakt Bap Dada, meeting groups. Do you experience yourselves to be souls who have been victorious countless times? Do you find it difficult or easy to be victorious? Whatever you find easy, you can do all the time. Whatever you find difficult, you cannot do all the time. Whatever tasks you have performed countless times automatically becomes easy. When you carry out a new task, you find it difficult at first. Once you have done that, then that same difficult task becomes easy. So, all of you are not victorious just this once, but you have been victorious countless times. To be one who is victorious countless times means to be one who always experiences victory easily. Those who are easily victorious experience at every step that all of these tasks are already accomplished, that victory is already guaranteed at every step. There cannot even be a thought whether it will happen or not. When you have the faith that you have been victorious countless times, there is no question whether it will happen or not. The sign of faith is intoxication, and the sign of intoxication is happiness. Those who have intoxication will always remain happy. So much happiness is experienced in limited victory. Whenever anyone gains victory in anything, there are so many bands and so much music played. Those who have faith and intoxication would definitely be happy. They would always be dancing in happiness. Anyone can dance physically, but to dance in the mind, even those who are ill in bed can dance in this way. No matter who it is easy for everyone to dance because to be victorious means for the bands of happiness to automatically play. When a band is playing, one automatically begins to tap one's feet. Even those who don't know how to dance will be sitting and dancing. Their feet and shoulders will be moving. So, all of you have been victorious countless times. Always continue to move forward in this happiness. Everyone in the world needs happiness. Even when they have all attainments, they don't have the attainment of happiness. Therefore, constantly continue to distribute the imperishable happiness which people in the world want. While considering yourself to be fortunate, do you experience your elevated fortune at every step? Because at this time, the Father has become the bestower of fortune and has come to give you your fortune. The bestower of fortune is distributing fortune. At the time of distribution, everyone can take as much as they want. Everyone has a right. You can all take as much as you want. So, at such a time, check how much fortune you have made. Because, if not now, then never. This is why the Father has given all the children the pen with which to draw this line of fortune at every step. You have the pen in your hand, and you have full permission to draw the line as long as you want. It is such a wonderful chance. So, you are always aware of the importance of this fortunate time, and you accumulate as much accordingly. Do you not? It isn't that you wanted to do a lot, but were unable to do so. That you wanted to do a lot, but you only did this much. Is it? Let there not be this complaint about yourself. Do you understand? Therefore, constantly continue to elevate the line of your fortune and also continue to give others the recognition of this elevated fortune. Wow, my elevated fortune. Constantly continue to sing songs of this happiness. Do you always experience yourselves to be the elevated souls who are spinners of the discus of self-realization? The discus of self-realization means that which liberates you from all the spinning of Maya. The discus of self-realization enables you to claim your right to the fortune of the kingdom and to be a ruler of the globe. It is only at this confluence age that you receive the knowledge of the discuss of self-realization. You are Brahmin souls, and you are therefore spinners of the discuss of self-realization. Brahmins are always shown as the top knot. Top knot means the highest. Brahmins means those who always perform elevated actions. Brahmins means those who always have elevated dharma, dharna. Have you become such Brahmins? Not Brahmins just in name, but Brahmins who do the work because Brahmins are remembered so much even now at the end. The memorial of you true Brahmins is continuing even now. When an elevated task has to be performed, people call a Brahmin because only Brahmins are that elevated. So, at what time did you become so elevated? You become that now, and this is why, even now, the memorial of the elevated task still continues. Always stay in the awareness that you are the elevated Brahmins, the spinners of the discus of self-realization, those whose every thought, every word, and every deed are elevated. Acha, blessing, may you be a Mahavir who constantly experiences happiness and contentment even in situations of discontentment through having remembrance of the Father. Those who always stay in remembrance of the Father remain content in every situation because on the basis of the power of knowledge, they experience a situation as big as a mountain to be like a mustard seed. A mustard seed means it is nothing. Even if the situation is of discontentment or of an incident of sorrow, to have the stage of happiness, even in a situation of sorrow, it is said to be a Mahavir. No matter what happens, together with nothing new, with the remembrance of the Father, you can always stay in a constantly stable stage. Then no waves of sorrow or peacelessness will come. Slogan: let your divine form always remain in your awareness, and your vision will not go towards anything wasteful of anyone else. Om Shanti.